All right. Thank you, Steve, for being part of Raising Clarity's holiday interview series. And it's 2023. It's December 2023, and I'm really excited and grateful to be speaking to you. So I call you my friend Steve Light, and you go by SLART.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you feel like speaking about that just for a second? What is that for you?
Yeah, I had a feeling you would ask that. Actually.
Yeah, it's such an interesting name.
I don't know. I saw the importance of having a brand for myself, and in a way, it was a way to kind of also protect myself. As you know, I see myself as quite a shy person, even though I'm probably not. I'm just remembering that I used to be. So if the idea of an art brand is something that's in front of me that's kind of hiding Steve Light away, but the actual name SLART itself is Steve Light Arts joined together into one powerful word.
There's also a connotation. There's the denotation, what you've just explained, but SLART carries with it a certain. So Slarty Barfast, does that name ring up?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't actually know what that is.
Okay, right. There's a connotation of SLART that's slightly, I think it's slightly derogatory or slightly self-deprecating more.
Oh, okay.
And I think, so I'm going to screen share something. And this is a pretty hilarious take on an art invitation, right? You said he had wanted to make it, I forget how you put it, but sort of not pretentious.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I thought, well, you couldn't have a less pretentious one, right? And you guys are really doing it up of sort of not being pretentious.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite funny. So SLART to me has a little bit of a weight to it. It's a little bit of an edge. A lot of artists, at least I think the stereotype is that they're kind of self-aggrandizing. And I think you are kind of the opposite. I don't know. Is that any of that possible?
Very true. Yeah, I'd like to be self-deprecating and a bit cheeky. I was always mysterious.
That's true too. I think that's
mysterious.
Great.
Yeah, I mean mischievous, but yeah, definitely mysterious and a bit.
So, your sort of paragraph, very short description on Substack includes the phrase, writing about my return to art after 20 years. And then I want to talk about that in a minute, but I also bold-faced this part. I also explore the gap between the societal pressures of a real job and the creative pursuits we crave. I'm really great. The Substack post specifically where you write about that, I think, quite a bit, which was a beauty at the time or pass anyway. So I work a lot with money. I think that's, that. And I work with money and jobs and fundraising and all those things, how to pull together the funds to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's edgy. Do you think that's edgy? And do you think it's interesting? Where's the edge for you in trying to blend or balance those two things? And those, you might not feel that you blend them. You might not feel that you balance them. I don't know. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah. Before I do, what did you see that was edgy about that?
I think it's an edge most people are scared of and won't go to be really blunt. For me, it's normal to want to stretch, do something you love, and not necessarily monetize it right away. And certainly need money. I don't just work for people with a lot of money. I do work for some. And we all think that would be great. It isn't always that great. So a lot of people have to do this balancing act that you talk about, and they're very familiar with the gap between a real job and the creative pursuits. And then you bring in societal pressure that it isn't just ourselves that we have to worry about. It's the real job, and you have real job in quotation marks on your Substack, and the creative pursuit, right? That is important to us, that we crave, actually. I think that's a pretty legit word.
Yeah.
And when we talk about a gap, I mean, I'm very visual. There isn't actually an edge. And some people get very close to that edge, but they don't really hang out at the edge. Whereas I see you really pushing yourself practically over into the gap. I mean, you've taken some risks. You have a family, so you're very careful.
Yeah, it's definitely ingrained. I think part of why I didn't carry on my art career when I was younger was the pressure. There wasn't any explicit pressure from my parents, but just seeing people around me kind of settling for jobs because they had to get a job, and I didn't see a clear path having an art career, so I just took any job I could. Started working on building sites, and then slowly moved into office environment and etc. and technology and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think when I share my posts with some people, they're quite happy having the two distinct parts of having a full-time job. Then they know they can create freely outside of their work hours. But I feel satisfied temporarily, but I know that I can do so much more having 40 plus hours a week really focused on my work. I'm just excited about how much deeper and how much further I can go with having that time, how much I've achieved so far with just limited amounts of time, and I want to push the envelope with that. And sometimes I feel guilty about that. Sometimes I think I shouldn't be pursuing leaving my job to start an art career, but there's something deeper which is nudging me in that direction.
So there, I would say, voices telling you shouldn't. And maybe, I'm guessing, voices saying you're self-indulgent, you shouldn't, for that reason.
Definitely. It does feel self-indulgent, especially when because I'm quite sensitive, hearing about people struggling, and there's me complaining about having a fairly decent job and not being satisfied because I'm not doing my art career. It's kind of quite a privileged position to be in, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think privilege is a blessing. I refer to I have a blog post about how privilege is a blessing.
Yeah,
that we can't make privilege go away by waving a wand and ignoring it. It's like we have it, so we might as well work it. Right. So there's these voices over here, but there's something in you that is undying. And here in the US, we think everybody with a British accent is wealthy. I know that's an idiotic stereotype. And I don't think you grew up wealthy, and I think you have a good job, a stable job. And that's a blessing or privilege, like you say. But did you grow up wealthy?
No, not at all. My parents were working class. We weren't short of money. My dad was a painter and decorator, then a taxi driver. Then he set up his own taxi business. So I might get that kind of entrepreneurial streak pushing against settling for working for someone else from him, seeing what he was doing, just imbibing that when I was growing up, I guess. But no, they both died penniless, basically. Didn't buy a house or anything, kind of frivolous with money as well. My dad liked to go down the betting shop. I think I told you about that before. That was the way he'd like to spend his time. So when I said privilege, I wasn't like, I know some people who they leave university and they go straight into a job because their dad knows someone at the company or something like that. But I never had that. I had to really struggle where I couldn't work for years because I was just really nervous and had quite a lot of anxiety. So I was picking up jobs where I could hide away, working in building sites and stuff like that. But I feel privileged. Like I've been able to get to a position where I've got a fairly secure job and I'm be able to create in my spare time. When I say this out loud, I'm very, very grateful that I can sustain myself and be creative separately, which is pretty amazing.
Right. Like if we think about your ancestors and what they went through, it's not something at all that was preordained. It's nothing anyone would have thought, oh, good. And in this generation, Steve Light will get to be an artist, a professional working artist. So when we talk about the voices, I think class background is something that we don't talk about much. I think in the US, but I think it's extremely important. I also come from a working class background.
Yeah.
My parents' generation were striving to be middle class. My father had a PhD, but my grandparents were both were immigrants on both sides. They were.
Yeah.
I'm second generation US, and so those voices that pull us down include class voices, the voices of the sort of the idea that it's self-indulgent might not occur to someone who grew up owning class, who grew up wealthy. It might be like, well, I guess I'll take the money from my parents' legacy and this is how I'll use it. Yes, there will be risks, even for someone like that. But you don't have that. And I think for anyone listening to this who didn't come from a wealthy background, I think it's very inspiring to watch you sort of duke it out with the voices. And so what is there, as again, I say there's a voice in you that's undying, that really says, I will do this. I mean, I know you and I've read enough of your work, not besides seeing your work, but read your written work to know there have been oscillations, there have been rises and falls in your ability to give yourself to your art. And some of those demons are internal. I'm feeling like I'm not, I can't do it, I shouldn't do it, I'm not going to do it. But I know that you will do it. And I'm watching you do it step by step, building. So there's that edge. And can you speak at all to it when I'm calling the undying voice? I don't know how you would call it, but the thing that will not go away and will not be satisfied until you are making your art professionally, full time.
I think it's partly, I have no idea where it came from, because all I know is that when I was very young, I was drawing all the time, and I didn't copy that from anyone. It'd be different if I had artist parents and I saw them drawing and then I assimilated that. But my parents weren't creative in that respect at all, and I never saw anyone else draw, any adults around me. So there must be some kind of natural or biological thing. My biological grandmother, who I got to know very briefly over the past 15 years since I met my biological dad, she was quite the creative and painter and stuff. So who knows, it could have been somewhat biological in my DNA, but that's part of it. And I think ever since I was probably about 18, I had a deep knowing that I'm destined for kind of bigger things. Not in like an arrogant way at all. I knew that I couldn't settle for just working in a job for all of my life. I had to do something bigger. And I can't explain what that was exactly, but I knew I couldn't settle.
All right. So when you were 16, your art teacher said you couldn't draw. So here you are as this little child drawing.
So I'm doing this art mentoring, and I rewrote my bio, and a big feature in my bio was talking about that art teacher. And then I showed it to this guy who's a professional curator and mentor in the States, and he said, "Why didn't you take that out? It just gives the power away to him." So I took that out, and it's not like I don't talk about it now, but it's not part of my central bio. I don't want to. It does make sense when he said that.
It's great. If you're redefining yourself as that not being so important anymore, I think that's also a milestone. It's great for people to know that happened to you, and you surmounted it, but the edge isn't there anymore for you.
Yeah. Okay. So I remember it vividly. So we were doing, we had to do a large scale drawing project. So I'm not talking mural size, but it's like, I don't know, about a meter sheet of paper by half a meter or something like that, which is big for kind of that kind of level, for drawing at early A-level class. So I started drawing a scene of my bedroom door. So I had my bedroom door, and it was it's supposed to be a documentation of a teenager's room. So I had the door open with mess everywhere and stuff. And I was drawing out the door and everything and started doing it. And he just came over and said, oh, I don't think you can draw large scale. And I said, fuck you in my head. But then I took it internally and got angry with myself and dropped out of his class. I don't know if it was straight away or soon after anyway. And then I didn't talk to anyone about it. My parents weren't really there to discuss school. I didn't feel comfortable talking to them or saying anything to friends. I just dropped out and that was it. But then I did, I moved to another art class, which was more of a vocational one. So the A-level one is more, I guess, more academic. But I did moved to a GMBQ and it was a lot more kind of, it was a smaller group and it was a lot less, they're a lot more encouraging, I guess. But then I did want to go on to do, to go to art college, but then at that time I just had really bad social anxiety and I couldn't imagine myself moving away from home and dealing with all that stuff. It just, like I like to say now, I've done a lot of work on it, and I can't remember who said this, but being anxious in that way is using your imagination in the wrong way. So instead of like you do with art, you're imagining a scene or a picture you want to paint. I was creating my own picture of how I imagined university to be, and I thought that I couldn't manage with that. And I have the space to see that now, but at the time it felt true that if I went to that scenario, it'd be absolutely terrible. Yeah, so it was, it definitely provoked a strong reaction. I just totally dropped out of it, and I did hear a funny story about him. So I had an exhibition last year, and I invited my art teacher, the one previous to this guy. She was really lovely. She was my high school art teacher, so before the A levels. So I think it's the same as because in America you stay at school to 18. So I was
15.
Between 15 and 18. Between 14 and 16. This separate art class, Miss Fearboard. I invited her along to my art exhibition last year. It was so lovely to see her. She looked exactly the same about 25 years later, and she was telling me this guy, he said I couldn't draw. He ended up getting fired from the job because he was lying about his qualifications.
Oh boy. Wow. So he was projecting.
Yeah.
He was projecting onto you his own insecurity. I mean, of course you can't see that when you're 16.
No.
But what an illegitimate thing to say, and what an illegitimate thing to do. And I'm sorry for him. And look at you, I find you very successful. I realize you're not as successful as you'd like to be, but I find you very successful. That is so interesting. And okay,
yeah.
So that's not a defining thing any longer.
No.
I feel like at this point, I'd like to show people. So here's a neat piece that you created of 9 pieces.
So some of those are from 2019 until last year, from looking at those, yeah.
There's an enormous variety. So this far left one over here is a mural.
It's the top left, yeah.
Yeah. It's got someone in a mask, which we all now know is about COVID usually.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was I did this with Harry Deering, who's an artist, local artist. She's brilliant. A big fan of her work. So we collaborated on this, and the only theme was a tribute to the NHS, National Health Service, in in the UK.
Right.
So the
medical service we envy over here.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the health service many people moan about here, but it's actually pretty good considering.
Considering, yeah, they should all
Yeah.
get moved to the US for a week, but
Yeah.
that's okay. I mean, I understand they should know. I'm sure it can be better.
Yeah.
So it had to be a tribute to the NHS.
Yeah, so it's on the side of a guy's house. He approached us. His wife is a NHS nurse, and it was kind of a little tribute to her and the NHS as a whole. So with these kind of projects, this is what we most enjoy because there's no kind of approval process or.
Yeah, I bet that can get hairy.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Who is the figure behind the person with the mask? So it looks like
so this,
yeah.
Sorry, yeah. This is so it's basically a like a 1950s nurse versus a nurse today. So that one on the left is the modern nurse, one on the right is the older nurse, older generation nurse.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
Well, what's up with the fish? So long.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the fish. Tell me about the fish.
Yeah, it seems random, but there's generally always a reason. So there was a little tribute. You can't see it on here, but on the top right of this, there's a little fisherman. There's someone on this particular street who passed away, and it was like a little tribute to this guy who loved fishing. And then we decided we wanted to put fish all over the place to brighten it up, and it's become kind of a little attraction for children walking past, and they stop and look at it and take photos and stuff. So there's fish all over this side, and then all over to the right hand side as well. It's just, yeah, that was kind of the finishing piece, and then the fish next to the rainbow, that's like a local nod. There's a pub called the Dolphin just around the corner. That one, yeah. Yeah. So that's the logo for the pub.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What town is it in?
It's in Swindon.
And that's also in Swindon, where you live.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about murals, there it is. So this wonderful blog post that how do I do something really means, can I have permission to do something? And so this is all about murals.
Yeah.
So this is the wall. This is the before picture. And let me actually not scroll so fast. So this is the before picture, and this is kind of the arch opposite.
Yeah. That was the inspiration of it. Yeah.
Right. I love it. Where in the hell did you decide where did you get that? You decided to transpose those arches onto that, frankly, not very attractive wall.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
the funny thing about that was I wrote in the story that I didn't prepare for this meeting, and I didn't have particularly any ideas. So this arch here was opposite the cafe where we met, around the corner from this. And I looked out the window and I just thought, oh, this paint those. And then I mentioned it to them, and it ended up, being a good idea.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about it is that you didn't take all the arches for yourself. You took them for other people, which is classic SLART. You're very sharing. You're very giving. You're very inclusive. I want to see if there's any other. There's one more picture. There we go.
Yeah, that's the end.
Get it to be bigger. Each a different style, each a different artist. It's brilliant. This is what the wall ended up looking like. Yeah. So not only is it beautiful and inspiring, but it's communal. But it's not all about me. It's about us and what we might do. Yeah. So you did all the negotiating. You did the permissions process, that famous approval process that you're talking about. And this is some amazing press that you guys got. Give yourself permission and start.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get the initial permission for the wall, but I did. I was
serendipitously, the beneficiary.
I was working with. I contacted our local councillor for the area, and I asked him if he knew who the landlord was, and he was in touch with this landlord previously, and he got the permission. As soon as we got the permission, I set up a GoFundMe page, and then within 2 weeks we got funding from local residents.
I mean, and you did that. You fundraised. I understand they gave the money, but you did the asking, which is the hard part for most people.
Yeah. Like I mentioned in the article, it was like at first it actually was about me. I must admit, I wanted to. The ego. Well, I'm not going to talk about ego, but I just wanted to. I wanted to prove to myself that I could paint something big, and I was going to do it all myself. But then I thought, why don't I just make it a community thing? I think that's what I end up doing. Sometimes I think, I'll do this big thing myself, and then it ends up being with other people. So that must be where my heart takes me. But yeah, the arches worked out well because there's 10 arches, and then 10 of the right people turned up.
And they're all in Swindon? All the artists are in Swindon?
Yeah.
So that's another mural in Swindon. Swindon's lucky to have you.
And that's actually on the same road as that other one. So this one we're talking about, and then I did the NHS one a couple of months after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so here's someone who says he's shy and not really into being very visible. And you're like super visible. You're visibly the presence behind this wall. You're visibly raising money, which is excruciating for a lot of people. And you're visibly putting your own work right out there. So to me, that's also an edge. And what in you allows you to not tiptoe to that edge, but get to that edge and go over it?
The thing is, when I stopped thinking about myself, I'm just doing what I love doing, and it just happens. Yeah. That drives me more than anything. I like you were saying, I probably describe myself as shy too much nowadays, because I'm not particularly. I'm more of an accepting introvert, I guess. Like you were saying about was it about Thanksgiving and stuff, a lot going on, and you're looking forward to peace and quiet. I feel the same. I do like bouts of going to busy galleries and chatting to people, but then I need the rest after that. I think the only thing in the way of me is the only thing in the way of getting to the next level of my art career is me now. There's no barriers really. It's not even seeing a clear path, I don't think. It's about applying what I've actually done and in the past, and I don't know, taking that, going deeper into that, I suppose. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but since 2019, I've probably done more than a lot of artists have ever dreamed of doing, which I feel like a dick for saying, but...
Good, go ahead. Feel like a dick and say it anyway. I want to hear you say it. And the people who are watching this want to hear you say it. We need to say those things. I mean, you're saying something really hard, which is, I'm totally responsible for my art career. That's the first thing you said. Like, there isn't another barrier but me, and I'm not going to be a barrier. And I've achieved a heck of a lot, and compared to other artists.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we don't need to compare ourselves, but you have. It helps you understand that you have.
Yeah, and I need to acknowledge that to move forward as well. I can't keep doing things and thinking I haven't done anything, because it's not true.
Right.
I've done a lot of exhibitions. I've set up my own exhibitions. I see extremely talented artists who are technically better than me, but they just don't take action as well. So I get it, but I need to praise myself for what I've done.
You have a lot of moxie. How do you set up your own exhibitions? What is some ways to do that?
I just book a venue and a date, and then I say that quite flippantly now, but I did. it feels easy to me now, because I don't know if you've heard of Landmark Education. I don't know if I think I might have talked to you about it before. I did their courses years ago.
I don't
when I
know.
was.
That's
Oh, you have
funny.
as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I did EST long ago,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
what originally,
Yeah,
in
the original one.
1979 I did it. Yeah. No, I didn't
Cool.
know that you had done that.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I told you, but I did it in 2018. This is when I was actually struggling with social anxiety, so I found it hard to get a job and stuff like that. That was when it was a reality for me. Then I went on the Landmark forum and didn't particularly change much, but I did this thing called the Self-Expression and Leadership Program. I don't know if they would have done that back in the S days, but it was the reason I did it was this project focus. So you have 3 months in small teams, and you have a coach who coaches the whole team. You have to set up a community event at the end of it. So I set up this social anxiety event in London. So I set the date first of all, booked a venue, and then worked backwards. So I had a coach there, I had the rest of my team all setting up events as well. So I set up a website for it, started promoting it, and then I think it was about 6 weeks before I got an opportunity to speak to Ruby Wax. I don't know if do you know who she is?
I didn't until I saw your interview.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's from Chicago originally, but she's been in London for many years. And I got to speak to her, and then I invited her to come along and open the event. And a part of me was like, no, she's not going to come. She's famous, and why would she come to my event? So I spoke to the producer, and she said, "Oh, she'll probably be too busy." But then I kind of said, "Oh, okay." So I did the interview with Ruby, and we had a really good connection. And then I asked her in person, and she said, "Yes, I'll be there." And then I think it was about 4 weeks later or something, the event happened, and there was about 80 people there, people who were shy, who had social anxiety, had enough courage to come along to this event, try these different workshops. So it had like NLP, CBT, hypnotherapy, laughter therapy, yoga, massage, all sorts of little sessions you could try just to get an idea of what kind of support you can get. And that was really life-changing for me, as well as the people who attended, because I proved to myself that I could do something that I didn't think was possible. So that's why I sound flippant when I set up events now. It feels like nothing to me. In a way that it's like if you're tying your shoelace. One day, when you're a child, it was nearly impossible to do, wasn't it? You're like, I'll never get that. But with running events, I don't get stressed about it. It just kind of happens. When I decide an event's going to happen, it happens.
Wow. I love your stories. I want to jump into your slideshow. Looks nice. All right. So this is your brand, SLART,
yeah,
like we talked about. And here's a piece. I invited you to choose, I think, 5 pieces. Tell us about this one that had something to do with an edge also.
Yeah. So I was a big wrestling fan when I was a child, WWF wrestling. Hulk Hogan was, he was like I think he was probably the guy. He became super famous back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, yeah. I know him.
And so I'm basically replacing Andre the Giant. So I'm staring him in the face. This is a scene from WrestleMania 3, but it has some meaning behind it. It's basically about masculinity, and because I was quite a shy, sensitive child and overweight, I kind of looked up to these kind of heroes. They were often like over 6 foot tall, some of them like 7 foot tall, big macho guys, really super confident as well. Obviously, a lot of that was acting, as I knew later on, but having that kind of presence and personality and charisma, I guess I was living vicariously by watching them on the TV. And in a way, me squaring up to him is kind of proving my strength, my worthiness as a man, and my that I'm good enough, like I'm tough enough as well. You can also see it. Yeah, carry on.
Well, and also that your way of being a man is different to his, but nonetheless still a way of being a man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know that now. I kind of, a lot of the time I thought you had to kind of be more macho to be a man, and something was missing or lacking. But
in this image, you look formidable, but you also look vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was the purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen the original with Andre the Giant, but to us, to the viewer, you've got your front exposed. He's got his back exposed. Anyway, it's very great. I want to find my cursor, and we'll go to the next image. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Promise.
Yeah. So this was part of that mural. This was my section. Okay. This was my arch, the second one along. And there was a funny thing about the second space as well, because I really wanted the first space.
Oh, right. Because the second space has these grills in it, right?
Well, it wasn't that, actually. It was just because it was nearer the road and more exposed. But
okay.
Someone with a bigger personality than me had the first space, and I wasn't really reluctant. I was like, it's okay, you can have it. I didn't feel like I was pushed into it. Yeah, I wasn't grudging it. Begrudging. So this is a tribute to my so after, when I dropped out of my art class, when I finished A levels, I went on to do multimedia. So this was more graphic design and web design and stuff like that. So this guy, Paul Moss, he was one of the tutors on the course, and he was one of the nicest people you would ever meet. He would give me so much extra support, and he would we played basketball together. This was outside of class and in his own time, which was really lovely, just because he wanted to. Wow. And I also heard that he another artist associate that I know, this guy Paul, he drove him 60 miles to this university in Cardiff, which is in Wales, just to go to an open day. So this guy didn't believe in himself about going to university, so Paul encouraged him and took him there, and then he ended up studying there and did really well.
Wow.
That's the kind of guy he was. He would do so much for the students. And then he passed away on when was it?
2022, yeah, July 2nd.
Yeah. Oh no, it's the other way around here, isn't it? 2nd of
Oh, sorry. 7th of February.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
So I really wanted to do a tribute for him. When we were doing this, when I was planning out the mural, I was going to do a huge tribute to him on the whole wall. So that's how the whole thing started. My drive for that, to do a tribute for Paul. That was the whole idea behind it. But when I got the community involved, they understandably said they didn't know who this person was, and he didn't live in this particular part of the town. So rather than doing that, I opened it up to more of a local community theme So it was all around Swindon and the local area. So by where this was painted, where they used to build all the trains, have you heard of Isambard Kingdom Brunel before?
No.
He basically built the Great Western Railway. So it goes from
Oh, wow.
Testing my history. I think it definitely goes from Bristol to London. So before that, there was no quick way to get between cities. So he was part of that and the railway works in Swindon, and built the Clifton Suspension Bridge in Bristol, which is I don't know if you've seen it, but it's an absolutely beautiful bridge. This was built in I don't even know when it was built, but it's over 150 years ago or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, some of the other murals in this project were around the kind of railway history and things like that.
So tell us a bit about this. I'm curious about the elements in this painting.
Yeah, sure. So Paul was into films and Star Trek. So
Okay.
on the left hand bit next to his name, you've got the the Dr. Spock sign.
Right, the Vulcan salute.
Vulcan, that's it,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And on the right hand side, there's a video camera sign.
Okay.
And then you've got someone being beamed up, like the saying, "Beam me up, Scotty."
Okay.
So it's beam me up, Mossy.
Right. And he was good at beaming people up, it sounds like.
Yeah. And also, when he passed on, he was being beamed up. Yeah.
Lovely. And what about this building?
That's kind of the landmark of Swindon. It's the only kind of, there's not really any skyscrapers here. So this is a kind of an Art Deco 20-story block of flats in the town centre.
Yeah. Great.
Excuse me, but because it's such a rural town, you can see it from miles away, and it's a bit of a focal point, really. They used to have a cafe at the top and an observation deck, but that's no longer there. But you'd be able to see for miles from there.
I love places like that.
Yeah.
And is this over here? Is that the Swindon skyline?
Yeah, that's supposed to be like a bit of a background skyline. Yeah.
I love the background colors. Actually, I love the stars and these swirls. All right, I'm going to keep going to the next piece. This is a really wild piece. Talk about edgy and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And it's your choice. This is one you chose. So, yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's I never planned to paint a nude of myself, but with seeing other people's art, I saw this this piece from someone called Glenn Pudvine, Pudvine, and he drew quite a lot of nudes of himself. They're really surreal. So his penis was like strangling himself and stuff like that. And that's really mad.
Right.
I have no idea what he's getting at, but it's pretty cool. And I would get really triggered by it, like felt really insecure and kind of weird.
By his or by you doing it for yourself?
By his. And that drove me to face my own body insecurities and paint something myself. So yeah, I started from a reference photo of myself, and I just felt really uncomfortable and vulnerable doing it.
And that's what made you want to do it, if I know.
Yeah.
That's why I think so. The title for this interview, like I said, really just I pulled right out of my ass is what I said. I don't know where it came from, but when I think of you, I think edginess just permeates everything you do. That you so here's the scary thing, and you're like, oh, I guess I better do that because it's scary, because it makes you uncomfortable. I love that.
No, yeah, you are right. even though it is uncomfortable, I think I'd rather do that all day, every day than paint boring stuff for other people.
I mean, you do paint things for other people. Let's be clear. You do take commissions, but you don't paint boring things for other people.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like, I don't know.
I do.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
You like
stuff with too much instruction or too many guidelines. I think it needs to have my own creativity in it.
Then I think it needs to have an edge, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. So with this, I've shared it in my exhibition last year, and I strangely didn't feel any kind of apprehension about it. It was just there. I had family members there as well, and I wasn't bothered.
And there you were walking around.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here, here's another one, also edgy and vulnerable in a different way. You're obviously wearing a lot more clothing, but this is you.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean this. I mean this.
Oh, that one. You. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you choose this one?
Yeah. So this one, I don't even know why I took the reference photo. Well, I probably do, because I was kind of feeling sorry for myself. So this was my first dialysis session in hospital the end of 2021.
Wow.
I think it was the 16th of December. So I was feeling really ill. I was extremely cold. This was when I was in the hospital. Excuse me. I had 2 jumpers on and a woolly hat on and a mask, and I just really needed this treatment. I took the photo, and then about 4 weeks later, after having treatments, I was well enough to go back down the studio again. So I printed out this photo that I took of myself, and I really wanted to paint it. So I think this is the first painting of this size I did. So the blue one, the blue man that I showed you previously, I can't remember if I finished that after this, but anyway, this is one of the first large paintings I did. So when we talk about going to the edge, I didn't feel comfortable confident in my abilities in painting something this size. So it's for my.
So of course you did it.
Yeah. So you can see the perspective of, I'm 6'2", so this is about 4 foot by 3 foot, the painting size. So I just took it step by step and felt quite fearful. Not fearful, there wasn't anything to be afraid of, but apprehensive and worried about it being any good. But it was just an amazing process, facing that head on. It was a very cathartic experience, expressing how I was through that period as well. And again, after doing something, it's proving to myself that I can face up to things and do them. And I realise when I'm saying this out loud, there's no reason why I can't apply this to making this an art career, to replace my job as well. So there's more to be explored on that next year anyway, definitely. Well said.
Well said. Wonderful. Here's the last one, I think, is the last one. I'm not sure. This is amazing. I don't know that I've seen this one.
No, I don't think I've shared it that much. First time I've shared it in public. So I had the idea, as you know, ever since I come across the phrase memento mori, remember your mortality in Latin, it's really, it's been a useful phrase for me. And this, you can't really see in the background, but I bought a real newspaper from I can't remember the exact date, but it was 1871 or something like that. The Times newspaper from London, an actual newspaper, pasted on the back of it, behind this board here, on top of the board, sorry, then paint on top of it. So the idea behind it was anyone who read that newspaper or wrote in that newspaper or advertised in that newspaper, they're all dead. Harsh reality. Someone one day is reading that newspaper, living their life as normal, having a cup of tea or whatever, and every person in that generation has moved on now. That doesn't have to be a harrowing thought. It's just the nature of life, and there's a message in it that we should live our lives, basically. So you've got the Grim Reaper there, and then someone who's dressed in kind of Victorian attire in front of him, he's no longer around,
and kind of sheltered by the death figure.
Yeah,
they look sort of like they're in death's cloak or something.
Yeah.
Wow. So what year did you do this piece?
I think it was early. No, it wasn't earlier this year. It was last year, actually. Towards the end of last year.
Wow, like a year after you did the piece in the hospital.
Yeah. No, it was that same year, but at the other end of the year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And why do you think you haven't shown it so much, this piece? Will you be showing it more?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was, actually, I wasn't sure if it was finished before, but then I left it for a long time. And then I decided to display it at my recent exhibition, and it feels ready to me. I think it's a blessing that I can decide it's ready, because I know a lot of artists are perfectionists and they've had the most granular detail or whatever. It's up to them, but I don't. I kind of feel when it's ready.
Well, we're getting to the end of the time, and I also know that you have a child, and I think you have to go do something for your child. I wanted to mention your upcoming art show. So you've got this thing called the Affordable Art Fair in New York, which is charming and interesting. And I'm making a note of things I can stick a slide of that in the final version of this. Is there anything for all your people in the UK or elsewhere that you want to mention where you've got shows coming up?
I haven't got anything else planned yet.
Okay, so people should subscribe to your Substack and they'll find out.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be stuff going on next year, but
I know you. Yeah.
It's not fully planned yet. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, listen, thank you so much. This was so rich. I think you're going to love listening to yourself also, by the way, just saying. Okay, move on. All right. See ya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. You as well.